many other manifestations of AI we are seeing every day. Uh, so while we have also my colleagues, that is from the AI team, there's Omkar, and who's an engineer, and Siddharth is from the Department of Communication Design. Tapan is a man of many parts, is quite very much into understanding and then making the AI easily understandable by students. So that gradually we are getting into this whole ecosystem of AI, which the world somewhat disruptive, somewhat uh, as a tool agent for change as changes
Mm.
happen. We have Rajiv again from the department, and these are the people who are interested in getting AI down to the student work, etc. Kirtana and Dhrumin are my colleagues. Good morning, Dr. Jason. Welcome. I was just
Morning.
trying to
My
introduce.
apologies. My
Yeah, I was
apologies for
just
being
trying to
late.
introduce our team.
I,
Just as a background, is that we started thinking about it in one of our forays while moving across the world, and we found that first we need to have a ecosystem wherein we have the necessary servers, NVIDIA, we create classes, we create labs, and then gradually bring it down to each of the collegiate schools. We have about 9 schools under the university. And it was a little bit providential that Dr. Blair came from the Ahmedabad Design Week, and we got talking and we signed off what is just a draft which had that it had to be that we were trying to see a 4 year undergraduate. That's the Indian way of instead of 3 years, a 2 years master's with a semester abroad where they would go to Swinburne and at a particular point in time, maybe in the second year or the third year, we would have certain amount of faculty coming from Swinburne so that they can do a little bit of teaching, block teaching. And then after 4 years, they go to Swinburne, the people who are found to be of the right kind, acceptable, and do their masters in Swinburne. So this was the undergraduate story. Postgraduate is again a 2 year postgraduate under the Indian law framework of education, where again they can go and pay the Swinburne fees and go for a semester abroad. So this is what Dr. Jason is the type of the initial MOU we signed, which, but at the same time, for the last 4 or 5 years, we have been working with Swinburne for a semester abroad program. And the semester abroad has a number of students. There's a when they go to Swinburne, they meet the criteria by the Australian government, get their visas, and based on the numbers, there's a fee which they pay, and they are housed in and around the CBZ of Melbourne, and then they come to classes and they spend about 14 to 15 weeks. So that agreement, the last one by Dr. Douglas was, and it gets changed and amended. So there's a 4 year, 5 year history with Swinburne. And due to the AI and AI in creative practice is something we would like to take forward. Now, we need all the help from Swinburne because they already have something moving which has been working well. We also want to look at that since it is an area which is changing very fast. So even if we can work out a year's program or 2 years instead of going the whole hog of 4 years, it would be good to get it past the what we call the board of studies is quite like the academic council which approves the programs etc., etc. Yeah. So this is where we come in from. So one is the partnership bit, and the other is the curriculum design, curriculum management bit part of it. So, Dr. Jason, I think I've explained generally everything. Over to you or to Dr. Blair and or Nima. Yeah.
Well, look, well, thank you, and it is an honour to finally have an opportunity to meet you, and we are very excited about the project. And Blair has been talking to me about this for some time, so I am very glad that it's moving forward. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to go through that today. And again, apologies for me being a little bit late. I'm happy to hand over Blair, Nima, if you've got.
Great, and Dr. Jason, for making time to come to the meeting. Yeah, over to you,
Very,
Doctor.
very happy to do so. Very happy to do so. We can't hear you. Right?
Dr. Blair, we can't. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
That's better.
Sorry, I had some issues and my whole team's just turned off before, so that's okay. So I'll just quickly give some context. So we need to look at what the curriculum side is for this program. So the undergraduate degree in the design program, we have the Bachelor of Design, Communication Design, and that program exists. But the major in AI and creative practice is a new proposal, which we've had approved at our academic senate. And that has been approved from a structural perspective, but it has not been written yet. So Kathanya, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but that request for the curriculum and for the major specifically in AI and creative practice, that has not been created yet. We've had it approved, but the team from my end are now writing the units in that major. But in Swinburne, that major won't start until 2027. But what we do have is all of the curriculum for the Bachelor of Design. And there's a lot of units in that Bachelor of Design that sit into this new major. So I guess what we need to do is firstly execute the agreement, which Nima and Jason will be happy to help with. When that's executed, we then need to look at what the units are and sharing content to ensure that the work that's done in Karnavati matches the transition when students come to Swinburne. That stuff I'm a little unsure about structurally, but hopefully Jason and Nima can help me with that side. The program side of things is no problem, and I am happy to say that the visit that we had in January did fast track the curriculum development from Swinburne to ensure that the major in AI in creative practice progresses. In Australia, things move a little slow. We need the program written. It then goes through a product advisory committee, which was approved. It then goes to an academic courses committee, which was approved. Then it goes to academic senate, which I'm happy to say has been approved. So all of the processes internally are now satisfied. It's now time for us to write that content. And then lastly on this, I've just recruited a new Associate Dean of Product Innovation. His name is Andrew Haig, Dr. Andrew Haig, and he will be leading this process from my school's perspective. So I do apologise, I've been stretched quite thin, but we do have support at a school level to action this. Andrew will hopefully visit India, depending on the timing, but I think early June perhaps. And we need to just work out where things sit in that trip. But it would be good for Andrew to visit Karnavati and be able to meet the team. But I just wanted to ascertain now the timelines from Karnavati's perspective. I remember when we spoke last week, I was less nervous about the timelines, but we do need to start now about making it happen, and hopefully that's what we can discuss.
Great. Nima, would you like to add me to reflect on what Dr. Blair said?
I guess I'm really interested in the course design aspect as well, because in a lot of ways, our discussion on the Australian course design and the Indian course design will help us get to a better understanding of what it is we are actually merging together and making sure that we're building something that works for both parties. So I would probably ask Blair, can you talk us, while we don't have all of the curriculum, can you talk us through the structure of the course that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Sure.
Dr. Blair, before you come in, I'll just paraphrase
sure.
what you said. That Dr. Jason will give us the partnership, and we'll have an understanding anything which needs to be talked around it, so that that gets signed based on the fact that it has moved down all the channels and all the check boxes which are there. The second point is that we need to put a team, and like you said, you already have someone thought about, and in our side, out of the people whom you see, one or two would be part of the curriculum design team. We would not require all 4 years to be uh, cast in stone, as they say. So even if the first year of the undergraduate and the first year of the masters are there, we have something to go to our academic council that it is a work in progress and gradually we'll move it. So ideally would be if we can get just the course outline, what we call the course structure of 4 years and 2 years. But my mandate is at least get the first year and put it across. And with the team which Professor Blair has thought of, and some of the members of ours, and there is already an experience of it as a major. I think we can put that across in some form and structure. Are we all in the right? Have I said the right things now?
So, Colonel Bose, my question would be, under your Senate, your guidance, your structure, what is will it be a new course under your guidelines, or will it be something else?
So, for the academic year 26-27, which starts, the students get in, they already, most have signed up for the courses in 3 campuses. And it's a new course, and AI in creative practice, by any stretch of imagination, is a new course, and maybe it's the first of its kind in India, which Karnavati and Swinburne are undertaking now. So there'll be many who will be looking at something, but this is nearly a first for all of us, and therefore we have high hopes. And I'm sure when Professor Blair met the president, he saw in us the energy and the type of to go forward with this as something which would help both the universities. My mandate is at least put the first year, that is for, it starts in July and ends in the May of 27, get that approved and get the in principle approval for the rest of the 3 years. This is the mandate. If we can do it for 2 years, very nice. So year 1 and year 2. So since most of the units of design, and that is the bachelor, and a major of AI, which is already developed, so it will help in fast tracking. When they go in the academic year 27-28, we have enough time for the students or some of the students to go to for the semester abroad. So that gives us a year's advance working. Yeah. So this is where I think I would ask Professor Blair to come in. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. So Nima and Jason, from our school perspective, we're introducing a new major to the Bachelor of Design. So Colonel Bose is looking to introduce a new course. We've got the course. It's our Bachelor of Design is the course. So we already have the first year built, and we've been running that for many years. What we've initiated, which has gone through the correct channels internally, is a new major in AI and creative practice. and that's 8 new units that we're building. So we've already written the units, and they've now been uploaded onto Atlas, which is our internal program. So all of the content is now there. We just haven't taught it yet. The teaching would take place in 2027. But if we were to join forces with Karnavati around the Bachelor of Design with a major in AI in creative practice, then most of the work has already been done from a Swinburne side of things. What I need to understand is progressing the relationship and the mutual benefits to both parties. What are the next steps, knowing that we have the curriculum and we've got the program? It's how do we now join forces and do it correctly?
So, yeah, Nima,
sorry,
please. Yeah.
Colonel. So Blair, can you just clarify that what is the structure of the Bachelor of Design Communication Design?
It's 8 plus 8 plus 8. So we have 8 core units which are existing, the 8 electives, and then 8 new major units. And those 8 units in AI and creative practice are being written. So we've got the titles and the overarching outlines. We now are putting the substance behind them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
Nima,
our program,
2 teams. So there's Dr. Rebecca, and we have Tapan and Rajiv, and someone else. So they can talk through and see that it fits into the Indian framework with some adjustments. Though what has been said, this is part 2. Part 1 is the partnership agreement, which works for both the thing. And this is simultaneous, near simultaneous, or concurrently. We move on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And our program is 3 years. So we need to work out how does the Karnavati 4-year program match our Bachelor of Design 3-year program. But we've spoke in January about the option to do a 3+1 with the 1-year master. But I don't know if we can do a 3+1. I think it needs to be the 4+1. But that's where it would be beneficial with the Indian side having the 4-year program and then move into the 1-year master here. But I again need help around how that may look.
So Nima, so our 4 years for any domain, let's say communication, product, transportation. The first year is foundation, because Indian schools do not have that foundational stability like we see in UK and Europe and others. And now it's a mandate that a bachelor would be a 4 years and a master's would be 2 years. You can also do a domain specific 1-year master's. Yeah. And if you do honors, you can skip master's and go straight for doctoral program. So this is how the credit has been structured. So, and it quite meets that our 22 credits of a semester is quite equivalent to the 50 CPS semester, which Australia has. And we have worked quite a lot with understanding the Australian framework, and because at some time we wanted to collaborate and do something in Australia. That's post-COVID. Trying to get things done. So the aim is that how should the foundation of ours and the team of Dr. Blair sit down to do some fixes that there's a bridge into your 3-year program, so that that's the part we need to. So even if it is 1 year, which we can move till as early as possible, and 2 years we put a timeline that. So these 2 will lead to the next 2 years. Then it's quite similar to your 3.
So within the Australian context, the reason that Swinburne has 3-year degrees that are we call them 8 plus 8 plus 8. It's essentially the first 8 elements are related to the core learning outcomes that the students must get, that we promise to the students, to the parents, to the government, that every single student will get those requirements. And within those requirements, we combine both foundational discipline knowledge. So unlike in India, we don't have to do foundational general knowledge. We just do foundational discipline knowledge, as well as research or capstone or project elements that happen at the end of the degree. So final projects, things like that. Those are the things. That's what we put in that's what we put in the core units. Then we have the meaty bit that we're talking about here, the creative AI in creative practice. That sits in the middle 8, which we call the major. And those 8 units are the bit that we're going to be collaborating on. So if we think of that as the middle bit, the final 8 bit is where we have flexibility. So in the final 8 is where we can recognise your units, probably from your second year of your course, and count those towards our degree, thereby not requiring students to do those 8. All of our degrees are set up in that structure to allow us to do partnerships and other models that allow us to award our degree. Where we have very strong alignment with foundational discipline knowledge, there is potential that we could recognise some of your modules from our core subjects, and probably not things like projects and capstones because we have to assess those, but there could be core foundational discipline knowledge that we could recognise between the two of us that would allow us to give flexibility in that area. And then, so that's the first question that our academic teams will work on. The second academic question that our teams will work on is, how do we work together in those middle 8 in the AI and creative practice? How might we collaborate there? And engage students collaboratively or other things like that. That's how the academic teams will work together. Sorry, Colonel, go ahead.
Yeah, so since we are entering an era and a new era, so our president has given us carte blanche, as they say, to get and for Swinburne to lead the way in that sense. Whether the first 8, second 8, and the third 8 is where we can have a negotiated way of looking at it. The middle 8 is very important in the sense. The first 8 is again something where we can talk about in the sense that that's core foundation, and does it touch all the areas or the important areas of creativity from a design perspective.
Exactly.
The middle 8 is core to anyone else. So that is AI, creative practice. And the next, so as we travel on this journey with 2 teams interacting, we'll come to a settled way of looking at it. And there is, again, the Indian system allows the flexibility. After a year, you can move 30% and change it based on the emerging trends of AI. Because we all know that today there is Anthropic, tomorrow Anthropic will get superseded by another something. So we can't be very hard and fast. We have to keep moving along with the trend. So that part of it, we shouldn't try to do everything now. We should at least do some of this 8 and 8, and the time and the trends rule us for something else. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In Australia, because our institution and many others are self-accrediting institutions, that is why we write the learning outcomes. So we say what students are going to learn, but we have full flexibility in how the students learn. So as Blair said, our Senate has approved what we've told the Senate we're going teach the students, but we haven't yet decided exactly how we will teach the students that bit. So that in terms of your comment about 30% flexibility, we have a similar kind of concept here in that we guarantee the learning outcomes, but then we write the content as we need to with the units. Of course, we need to write it before we can collaborate and things like that. That's a timing thing, but that's generally how we operate on the delivery side of things. The next part of so that's what our academic teams will work on. The next part of the partnership conversation is on the business side of things, and that determines what are we providing to students? What is the benefit, opportunity, model that we are presenting to students of how they will engage with both Swinburne and Karnavati. So that's the second part of how we develop our partnership agreement.
So, Nima, since we already have an existing business model of a study abroad program, has been working well for last nearly 5 years now. And the first part is that since we are quite high in the accreditation. We are a NAC A plus. Sometimes someone had asked. That allows a lot of collaborative arrangements without going to anyone else because it's been accredited. So that gives us same credit granting, accreditation, and a worldwide connect as far as Karnavati is concerned. So that augurs well for any type of collaborative arrangement we do. Yeah. So we are good in both. And as we sit down to do, so as Professor Blair said, let's get the partnership moving, share a draft where our legal and people look at it, they pass it, we sign off, which is an addendum to the earlier one. I'm sure it's just supplements the one which has been shared, which has been signed off, and which generally has all the goalposts and the milestones lined up in there. So that could be, let's say, the MOU Part 2, which actually deals with the business case. And then the two teams we nominate 2 or 3. They nominate 2 or 3. They understand the year 1, and then they understand the 8+8. So 2 teams working together, get to know each other's framework, and I think that's the best way to go forward.
I agree. I think within Swinburne's context, there is one more level of complexity or clarification that's good for us to get from the start, which is we are regulated very differently on whether we are enrolling students to study subjects. So that's the example of study abroad. So in the Australian context, study abroad is called a non-award course, which means we teach students specific outcomes, specific subjects, and they take those subjects back to their home institution, wherever that may be, and the award is given by the home institution. So under study abroad, that's a non-award partnership. And exactly as you explained, we have the frameworks in place to support that already, and we simply need to work on the academics. The other option, sorry, go ahead, Colonel.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, because a similar program, we're working in other disciplines with Europe, with America, with UK, etc. And each understands each other's accreditation and credit granting. So what is one credit in India are the same one credit in Europe, the credit which is doubled in UK and quite like. So over time, we have been able through the global design program to work with all. Yeah. So in this partnership, we would like to be similar to other partnerships in that sense. And I can share a draft of a few confidentially with Professor Blair, which includes the following things. It includes that we pay for any master classes, anyone who comes for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, the travel, stay, and some amount of whether it's called subsistence or it is called whatever is the per diem, we call. So that is one phase of it. The other is some sort of a online sort of coaching towards their building their portfolios, and quite like a mentorship. And somewhere at the end of the year, one or two faculty members travel and look at when we have a thesis or a jury presentation to see that the quality standards are being met. Only once the quality is equivalent to the confidence of someone from Swinburne, then it adds meat and it adds strength to this partnership. So these are few of them. Yeah. The SAP was, so that's an area we need to talk a little bit more, that when a student goes for a semester abroad, they pay the Australian fees. They get enrolled based on certain amount of quality. Are they meeting the quality of that program? And they are not all. Few would like to be in Australia, and they earn the credits of Australia. That is whether it's 50 CPS. And when they come back, that adds to the transcript. That is, that they have done semester 1, 2 in India, semester 3 in Australia, 4, 5, 6, 8. So when the transcript and the CGPA is worked out, that's the equivalence. So there is a equivalence matrix between the Australian system and India, matrix between the Indian system and the European ECTS, matrix between UK QA. So that way the structure, so it gives students the confidence, and it gives within the business case the students go to Australia. So this is one. And the other part is that it also gives that after doing the 4 years, based on a certain quality matrix, they go and do their masters in Swinburne. So these also need to be put into. I can share some sort of a draft so that you can look at it, and then the partnership can be drawn in some way, which has a financial aspect in Schedule 1, 2, or where something. Yeah.
I think that's what I need to know. I'm just conscious of the time. I have a meeting at 4 o'clock Melbourne time, which I'm not sure what time it is in Ahmedabad. But I think the action item from myself is introducing Andrew Haig, who will look after this partnership. But from a curriculum perspective, the Bachelor of Design, we already have the Bachelor of Design in place with 5 different majors. The new major for my school is AI in Creative Practice, which will be the 6th major. That still needs to be built, but I just need to know Jason and Nima around the process of executing an agreement and understanding the financials and the process. But from a curriculum perspective, we have most of the program done. I have someone now in the school to lead it, but I just need to know what next steps from my end.
So Blair, I think Colonel and I are on the same page in that we have an MOU in place, we have a study abroad agreement in place. We need something supplementary to cover any additional engagement that we might have on the topic of AI in creative practice, and or any other engagement that we're going to have, sharing of curriculum, etc. That's the model that we already have in place. And sorry to throw this late in the meeting, but Colonel, Swinburne is also interested in another model in how we might work with you, and that is what we call in Australia a dual degree, where we would work together to recruit a new cohort of students, a different cohort of students that do the first 2 years of their degree with Karnavati and the second 2 years of their degree with Swinburne. And we can talk about the discipline or other things like that, but we would be really interested in doing both the model that you're discussing, but also longer term talking about the dual degree model as well. We think those two things would complement different types of students coming in and getting different outcomes.
Yeah, so wonderful, Nima, because under the training, which the NAC A+ accreditation allows us. It allows joint degree, it allows dual degree, and it allows semester abroad and a master's progression. So in our discussions as we progress, we can look at that model, get it past our academic council as which of the training which would work for us, and get back to you. And that's a wonderful way of strengthening the partnership between Kanawati and Swinburne. And it can move on to other areas in tech and others where Dr. Rebecca may be interested in because they are doing quantum computing, they are doing mechanical engineering, and Swinburne is a university of technology. So it opens out a wider front beyond design. So it will be wonderful if we can talk about that. But as Professor Blair said, and I would like to hear from Dr. Jason, how soon can we get the partnership draft so that if there are some additions, we can meet on that and close it as soon as possible. At the same time, Dr. Blair's team sits down and we get simultaneously the academic curriculum. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think Nima, but me being very new to the role, I think Nima has a little bit more experience in terms of how long these take to kind of eventuate. I mean, it is a bit of a process, a new agreement at our end in terms of, depending on the size and scope, who needs to approve it. Nima, you've probably got a slightly better idea on the timeline.
Well, we're talking in non-award, Jason, so we wouldn't be talking financial approvals. We'd only be talking strategic approvals, PA2, that kind of thing, because it wouldn't be under the coursework partnerships procedure. So it could be pretty straightforward.
If it's not a dual degree program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it is a dual degree program,
that sounds good. I think that sounds good. The dual degree program certainly interests all of us, but perhaps that's something we could have a look at, which knowing it's going to take a bit longer. And then also the articulation into the master. I think for now, I do value the partnership. I feel that from my perspective, Karnavati is a strong design school and it's great to have this partnership, but I would personally like to have my school connected more into India, which Nima and Jason are aware of. I think that exposure where you're working with Milan Polytechnic University and Savannah College of Art and Design, it's a privilege for Swinburne to be amongst the leading design schools globally. I would like to do it correctly and beneficially for both sides. So I don't want to fast track things just because I personally like the relationship. But from a curriculum perspective, we've pretty much got it down pat. So I just need to know from a Swinburne side how we progress it.
So Colonel, we were planning on doing a trip to India in the last week of June, first week of July. Yeah. So I wonder if we could work towards that deadline in terms of the signing of the agreement. Jason and Blair and I are all planning to travel. Yeah. Would that work as a time for us to visit, have further conversations, but also to finalise the details on this part of the relationship?
So Nima, my point is that we can exchange as everything.
Of course.
So we'll exchange it and there'll be a date in which the sign-off can be with certain, I'm not saying fanfare, but at least with
you always people. Look after us. But it would be good to go back in person.
So we get the dates, we get some provision, and at the same time, the two teams meet and they carve out, as they say, whatever can be done. And then when we meet face to face, the things can go beyond whatever we are thinking at that point in time, because we have also moved into other areas which the president would very much like to discuss and such like. So I'll just give you my priority is that somewhere we get into making the program, at the same time share a draft of the type of partnership which meets your regulatory framework and meets our regulatory framework, and the sign off whichever way it goes. And then the next step would be to strengthen it further to dual degree, articulation, etc. Some amount of articulation is built into the AI and creative practice in the sense that they come for the semester, and they go and do the masters there. If there is 2+2, 3+1, 4+1, all those things can be discussed and we can take it forward.
So
Fantastic.
I think from my end, I've just got to go, but I will introduce Kathana with Andrew Haig just to keep this discussion going, but make sure that Andrew is still on that learning curve, and Nima, Jason, and myself can work together around the overarching agreement. That would be great.
Sure.
And hopefully see you again late June, and we can execute in person.
So, Professor Blair, this brings a lot of clarity, and thanks all to people who could join. And when we have a meeting with the person you have nominated, Dr. Rebecca, and a few of us can meet and discuss in some thread and bronze type of what works, and we already, so what will be part of it. And that team will be strong enough to put things in perspective and before the various bodies, that this is the way we go forward. The only part which I would like to say is not rushed. We don't want to put all 4 years together, even if we can do first year and the second year. I think that's good to go for all. Yeah.
Thanks. So Dr. Andrew Haig, who is now my Associate Dean of Growth Product Program Innovation, he was my department chair for communication design, and he was responsible for writing the new major in AI and creative practice. So he's very well aware of curriculum. He just have a bit of a learning curve with Jason and Nima around the overarching agreement. But that's good. I do have to finish up. I have another meeting waiting for me. I'm very sorry, but it was great to meet everyone.
Just one
again.
point, Professor Blair. Means that is, if we can be introduced to Andrew and he can give just a one-para overview of the program, then it'll be good when we meet in May with some of our students or most of our students, and some are actually based on whatever we have declared, actively looking at this as something which will benefit them in the years to come. So AI and creative practice is gathering, I'm not saying a storm, but it is gathering certain amount of weightage around it. And if I can get something which is what you have experienced and worked from Andrew, that will give us a good point as a foundation to start the next week. Yeah.
No problem, and we'll make that introduction. But also, I've committed to Cassandra around the online workshop with students, which I'll make sure I lock in that time. So that's all fine, no problem.
I think, Dr. Jason, it's wonderful to have you, and it would be a pleasure to have you along with Nima and Professor Blair in campus to see things in and around this part of the country, since it has a little bit of blessings of the Prime Minister. So things are moving pretty fast in this part of the world.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, team.
We'll have a discussion internally, and let's hope for moving it as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.